Stream is live. Here we go. Wow, I actually look okay today with very limited light. Maybe it's all the blue glow from TVs and stuff. Let's get this up for you guys. I am Moana. Okay. Oh, I gotta change the title. Oh, the song's going off. That is a bad sign. It says my stream is healthy. Oh, yeah, it's public. I do not know why it's not showing up. Here, I probably need to stop and start it again so that it will change the thing with the stuff. That's really weird. So I'm streaming live right now. It says I'm up. I'm watching it on my TV. And I don't know why it's not showing up yet. Here, I'm going to start and stop and see if that fixes it. There it is. Yeah, it's because I had the same chat title as the one from yesterday. Here we go. Here we go. One more time. Everybody's doing fine. Here we go now. Up, up, up. Here we go. All right. Now remember, I am ready, and I need you guys to be ready too. Where is everybody? Freya, stop yelling. It's storytime rules, okay? Am I still streaming? Can you guys still see me? Well, I can hear me. Okay. Your mom does not need to set up her camera. I need to read to you guys and go to sleep. I don't need to make this a big ordeal, okay? Okay, are we ready yet? Do we have all three children, and are we ready for you or me to read, not you to read? Hello? Okay, I'm waiting. Okay, are you guys actually all ready now? Okay, you all need to get on a couch or chair or something soft, whether it be the floor or whatever, and you all need to be quiet. It's reading time rules. Okay, also, so you're all three there, right? Okay, can you see me? Okay, here I go. Chapter 8, Whispers. Chapter 8, Whispers. You guys need to be quiet or I am not going to read. Do you understand? Okay. A turnfin squawked down to Ava as she hopped from the Bijou's hatch. She stepped out into the abandoned camp and looked up. From the overcast sky above a lone turnfin fluttered down and landed on a crate. Haley's head poked out from the hatch. "Make sure Caruncle's not around," Ava whispered to him, "and hand me one of those susta bars." Haley tossed a bar to her and set off to find Caruncle. Ava unwrapped the bar and crumbled it up in her hands. While feeding the turnfin, she asked, "Did you find them?" "I traveled to the heart. I sang to others who have seen them. And they're okay. Your blue father and his clan are safe in their nests. And the ones who live on the big lake. The fish-eaters now roost with your father's clan." "Thank you." Ava stroked the bird's feathered head. The turnfin gobbled down the last of the sustabar and flapped up to join the others circling overhead. "Did you nab catch a thief?" Caruncle asked. Ava turned to see him round the nose of the Bijou. He ambled toward her holding the reins of his 2 munt-runners. She smiled. "No, just a curious visitor." "Your lost missing seeing eye. That is probably who took it." Caruncle pointed to the roosting turnfins. "They crave like shiny objects to decorate their nests." "Maybe." Ava looked up. Though her vantage point was low, she saw no nests on top of the wreck. "Ava, I couldn't find—" Haley came around the tail fin of the ship and gave a startled look at Caruncle. "Couldn't find my omnipod after all." "Yeah, so no omnipod." "Caruncle thinks maybe a turnfin took it," Ava said, pointing to the birds. "Turnfins, huh?" Haley put his hands on his hips. He focused his gaze up to the sky and squinted to see if he saw something far above them. Caruncle eyed them both for a beat as he fed the munt-runners. "Those turney fins are sneaky. You cannot turn your back on them for a moment's second." He handed the reins to Haley. "Hold this." From his hover sloop, Caruncle pulled out a large curved wooden beam, a yoke, and unbuckled the straps. "Ava, will you help?" "Sure." She held the other end of the yoke while Caruncle fitted it over the head of each munt-runner. "So," Ava said, "given any more thought to my proposition?" Caruncle hitched up the munt-runners to a pole projecting from the front of his hover sloop. "Shall take you to the ruins." "Thank you," Ava said, grinning. "However," Caruncle wagged his finger at them, "you humans feed yourselves and find your own drink." "Deal," said Ava. "Fine with me." Haley tore open a sustabar wrapper. "Fine good," said Caruncle. "Then we have an understanding. Let us break camp. After I load up my stuffed things, you can add your belongings. Then we go." The late morning sun burned away the low-lying bands of clouds to reveal the rings of Urbana. Sitting next to Caruncle in the front seat of the hover sloop, Ava watched the cracked plains of the salt flats roll past. "We shall continue south along the edge of the moving forest." Caruncle steered his munt-runner team in the direction he was indicating. "By nightfall we should arrive at Hyako's Hook." "Hyako's Hook? What's up?" "That's a choice she made. Okay, I need to continue reading. I should have been in bed half an hour ago." "Hyako's Hook?" Abe asked. "Yes, named after the famous storyteller who travel journeyed here during the Great Migration. See how the forest point juts out and stretches the east toward the mountains. Caruncle waved his pipe stem at the horizon. If you were to gaze at it from above, or with a beam guide, you would see it forms a hook. Hyako's hook. Ava closed her eyes and listened to the forest. She could feel the ebb and flow of energy, and the presence of intruders, but they were now far behind. She let out an exhale and watched the turnfins riding the wind currents alongside them. Caruncle lit the 3 bowls of his pipe while his second pair of hands held the reins. "So are you ready to tell Caruncle why we are traveling to the ruins?" "Not yet, but I'll let you know when we arrive." Ava glanced back at the shaded end of the covered sloop where Haley was. The pilot lay on top of a large crate. A low snore crept out the cap pulled over his face. "Very well." Caruncle sucked on his pipe. "In the meantime, perhaps you'll tell me what this is." He pulled several folded yellow sheets of paper from his pocket. On the water-stained pages were printed words. "I found a hinge box full of these. Some were loose, some were not." Ava took the pages and unfolded them. The words did not light up like scrolls or the electric paper she was familiar with. "These are pages from a book. An old book." "A book?" "Yes." Ava read through the words. "It's like a story that once happened. See here, it's talking about a city named Phyllis and how it is beautiful when you first arrive, but becomes faded and boring after you live there for a while." "So it is a history." Ava shrugged her shoulders and handed the pages back to Caruncle. "It could also just be made up. Fiction." "What is fiction?" Caruncle looked over at her. "A fairy tale, you know, like Once Upon a Time and They Lived Happily Ever After. That sort of thing." Ava's coveted wondla drifted into her thoughts. "Our kind only write records, true accounts of what has happened that we can remember. These accounts are written continuously with no end. But you say that your fictions end. Do they always end the same?" Caruncle exhaled a series of smoke rings. "Yes, no matter how many times you read them, fairy tales always end the same. They're not like real life." Ava didn't want to talk about it anymore. "They are like a fortune, fate." Caruncle watched the horizons pass. "No, not like fate." Ava crossed her arms. "It's the same story sequence every time you view the symbols on these pages, correct?" "Yes, but a predetermined record of events that always ends the same is fate, if you ask me." "I don't know about that." Ava looked away toward the mountains. "Of course you do not, but perhaps someone does, and has written record of it unbeknownst to you. Besides, your ending has yet to arrive." They continued on through the afternoon and arrived at Hyako's hook shortly after nightfall. Ava balled up her poncho to make a pillow and stretched out on a blanket next to the campfire. Dark shadows danced around the firelight, concealing the noisy nocturnal denizens of the forest. The proximity to the woods relaxed Ava. Grogginess caused by the long day of travel soon began to overtake her. "You know," Haley said, looking up at the waning moon in the star-speckled sky, "it really is beautiful out here at night." "It sure is." Ava stretched and pulled off her sneak boots and socks. She wriggled her toes in the warmth of the fire. Picture time on this page, so you guys are going to want to pay attention, okay? "I'd appreciate it a lot more if everything weren't trying to devour me." With his hands folded behind his head, Haley lay back on his blanket. "It's a test game of survival out here in the wild." Caruncle set a large scorched pot on the fire. "Yeah, a game I don't really want to play anymore," Haley said. Caruncle chuckled. "You have no choice. You start this game the moment you are hatched. It does not matter if you are human or otherwise. We all play this game." He waddled over to his hover sloop and unhooked the cage holding the knife jacks. The creatures within chittered and flapped their wings. Ava tried to block out their fear. Caruncle lit his smudge stick and blew out the smoke into the knife-jack cage. He reached in and pulled out one of the creatures. Life is hard and painful. For all, even for the fierce knife-jack. Look, see here. Caruncle grasped one of the knife-jacks, squirming. Slowly he twisted the leg backward in its socket. The creature hissed and nipped at Caruncle's hand. Ava squirmed, feeling the knife-jack's pain, and tried to look away. With one swift movement, Caruncle pulled the leg from the socket and tossed it into the pot of boiling water. "Come on," Haley cried. "That's cruel." "Ah, but you humans see, the knife-jack is still remains very much alive. If I let it go—" Caruncle released the knife jack, and it flittered off into the night. It will carry a reminder scar, but it will be smarter. Perhaps it will avoid smoke from a smudge stick. Perhaps it will avoid Caruncle. Perhaps it will survive. Perhaps it'll just get eaten by something else, Haley said, and laid back down. Caruncle seized another knife jack from the cage and bound its wings with twine. He dropped it into the steaming pot. We all must do what we can to survive. For what? Haley said. In the end, we're all going to die. True. Caruncle poked at the boiling knife jack. No matter what we did yesterday, do here now, or do tomorrow, we are all destined for death. It is our fate. He looked over at Ava. But our knowledge, the things we learn, can carry on in others after we are gone, Ava said. The toil of this journey, our journey, is the map for those who follow. Well spoken. Caruncle continued preparing his meal. That was deep. You sound like Rovender, Haley nudged Ava with his foot in a playful manner. She shrugged him off. Her mind was occupied with memories of Rovender describing death at the skeleton of the air whale. She recalled Mother holding Ava close and rocking her to sleep back in the sanctuary. She could almost hear Mother's voice whisper, "I love you, Ava dear." Ava replayed the memory over and over until she drifted off into sleep. "Ava, wake up," Haley whispered. Ava's eyes fluttered open to find him huddled close and patting her arm. "What is it?" "Shh." He put a finger close to his lips. "Caruncle says someone's out there." Haley gestured towards the flats from which they travel. "We need to hide, fast." Ava sat up and grabbed her shoes. While she quickly pulled them on, she listened to the forest. Many of its inhabitants had stopped chirping and singing. "I'm sensing that there's another being nearby. It's not from the woods." Her eyes grew wide with fear. She scanned the darkness but saw nothing. "Caruncle's gone to investigate." Haley helped Ava to her feet. "So now's our chance to go." Ava and Haley stole away from their camp into the gloom of the forest. They found a hiding spot behind the large corrugated leaves of a giant liverwort. "Let's stay here until the coast is clear," Haley whispered. "No." Ava pulled the hood of her poncho up. "I want to see who it is." "But what if it's that Lorok guy?" There was concern in Haley's voice. "I don't think it is." Ava crept through the wood, moving through the shadows like a Flotozoan hiding in the brush. They circled the camp and came to rest alongside a large wandering tree. As quietly as possible, Ava pulled herself up onto the thick branches and climbed to the topmost bough. Haley joined her. "See anything?" "Not yet," she whispered. "Keep low if you can." Haley peered up into the cloudy sky. "Did you hear that?" "No. Is it a ship?" Sounded like engines, big engines, like a warship. Haley turned his head as if to hear it better. "I know you're out there," Caruncle shouted from beyond the forest. "I'm armed, but do not desire to cause harm. Reveal yourself." A breeze blew in from the flats, carrying the hum of Caruncle's charging boom rod. Ava and Haley peered over the edge of the hardened leafy formations of the tree. Caruncle stood a ways from the camp, his back dimly lit by their dying fire. The vast plain was soaked in inky blackness beyond Caruncle's long shadow. "What's that?" Haley pointed north of the camp. A burly creature crept from the forest on 3 pairs of muscular legs. Even in the dim light it was apparent that it was much larger than Caruncle. Its spotted, hairy hide bristled as it approached the junk dealer, while its clawed hands held a charged boom rod. This was an alien Ava knew all too well. "It can't be. It's not possible. It's bestial." Chapter 9. We're not reading it, but you guys get to see the picture. Alright, good night, kiddos. Hop in your beds, go to sleep. Well, go see what your mom wants you to do. Give her a hug and a kiss.